Greetings! Late last year I placed a pre-order for a Bitcoin miner, a Black Arrow Prospero X1. Now this was a pre-order, and if you believe the website, you order in November and you're expecting to get the thing by the end of January. So you're talking about 2 months of waiting on the pre-order, and then since it's come from China you probably expect about 9 days to arrive from there. Black Arrow seem to get things the wrong way round. Instead of taking 2 months to pre-order and 9 days to ship, they only took 2 days to ship, but 9 months to pre-order. This would have been worthwhile having if they'd shipped it out in January. As it is, the price of mining, the difficulty in mining has gone up, so there's pretty much fat chance of this thing making its money back. It might make some money back on mining, but if you're lucky, it might break even. But anyway, that's what should be in the box. I've got the customs declaration here indicating that it's valued at $100. So let's see what's in the box. We have some packing foam and what looks an awful lot bigger in real life. You'd think from the pictures it's about the size of an ATX power supply. It's not, because that is in fact quite a beefy ATX power supply. I shall put that to one side. We have what's probably, good God, a UK mains cable, which I shall take a closer look at later on after I use my own cable. We have a Wi-Fi antenna, because it can connect wirelessly. And we have, of course, the X1 itself. And take a closer look at the X1. At the back we've got the wireless connector. We have 2 USB ports and a network jack, because it can connect wired as well. We have this power supply, which is a Sunshine Electronics AP187, and there have been reports of these things going bang. So I'll be taking a closer look at this thing, especially as it has no warranty seals. And we have the X1. Let's look back at the X1. There's a pretty big fan on the top. That's a 7-inch ruler, so you can see it's approximately, I think it's about probably a 200mm fan, I think, if you include the full plastic surround. So we've got the back, we've got the side, it's vented at the side there, it's not vented there, it's vented at the bottom, and what I haven't seen yet is this face. I have never seen this yet, and we have the one with the LCD at last. There's all sorts of problems with these things getting LCDs. We also have some buttons at the front, what looks like a micro SD card slot, because it is a micro SD card slot. It's one of those push in, push out type ones. We have some small holes there as well. I don't know whether there are buttons behind these holes. We shall take a look at that. And another USB port, this time on the front. You can see the airflow on this thing is actually designed to go through this. You can see there's 2 large heat sinks in there underneath the fan. Get a better view of them there. Probably get a better view still actually if I power it up, because the fan will be spinning, and hopefully, well, in fact, if I do that, I don't know if it's probably going to be a bit too stroboscopic on the screen. We have some small holes there with nothing in them. So I don't know if there's buttons behind there. We'll find out in a bit. So let's put the power supply in. when it wants to go in. There we go. The size on that thing, man. So there's a PC power supply in comparison, size-wise. It's a big old beast. Right, okay, I'm going to test it. I'll test it first of all with the power lead it came with. I don't particularly trust. It's got a proper UK molded plug, and it says it's 3 gang, 1 square mil, and 250 volt molded connector by New Square, whoever they are. And it does appear to be UK spec cable, so maybe I will use this after all. It does look quite robust, and it's using a says it's got a Busman 13 amp fuse. I'd much rather it be a 3 amp fuse, so I may well actually switch to using the other one, which is well, if it's good enough for Dell, it's good enough for me. So let's see what we get when we power it up. Power lead in the back, switch it on. Well, it's certainly quiet. That's the advantage of having a large fan. You'll find that even in PCs, if they've got a big fan, they can shift a lot of air with very low RPM. See, this is quite a quiet PC because it's got quite a large fan. If you had like a server PC, a server power supply with a small fan that size, they don't half make a racket. I haven't even read the instructions on these yet, so I don't know what the crack is, and if it is. It's a touchscreen. It's a touchscreen Android interface. So let's have a look at. Go home. Go back. I'll be able to play Angry Birds on it if nothing else. Right, let's get a network cable into it. That's the network cable in, and linked. Yep, got a green light on that. And I'm used to being able to drag down on that to get things up. Looks like I'll have to go to settings instead. See what else is on here. Wi-Fi display, not an awful lot. Okay. Right, it says minion controller running Android 422. Build number, black arrow, blah de blah de blah. What's that button do? I think that button resets it. I'm gonna have to grab the instructions for this thing online, aren't I? See, it looks very fancy apart from this awful backlighting down here where the light is leaking to the front of the screen, but I think you can put up with that. And the power supply hasn't blown up yet, which is good. And we've got an Ethernet connection, which is also good. So, what's these other buttons do? Let's press that top one. Volume up and down, okay. It's basically a tablet. Don't know what that button does. Launches Google. It turns out you can get at this. You can either get the IP address from your laptop. If you've got access to your internet router, you can get the unit's IP address from there. How we get it on obviously depends on the router. Or or you can go into the settings menu in here and you go to, under wireless networks, you go to more and then go to Ethernet, and it'll give you the IP address there. So I can either web browse in with this or try and do battle with the screen or something, or I can just switch to using my laptop to do the job. So let's take a look and see what's going on. This is the user manual. Easiest way to find this is to Google Prospero X1 PDF and get it from the website, rather than try to find it on their menus, because I couldn't find it on the menu. Google managed to find it. Anyway, let's take a look, and we web browse to 192.168.0.221. It's automatically redirected to a HTTPS site. I need to put in the username, which is user, and the password, which is black arrow. And I might as well save the username and click login, and this will connect, and you can see it says it's hashing. It's got 137 gigahashes per second, so it's 137 billion hashes per second. Wattage, apparently it's drawing none, so believe that, make of that what you will. The temperature setting, apparently this goes in 20-degree increments. It doesn't know, it's not dead on 60, it's just somewhere between 40. It's probably somewhere between 50 and 70. You can see, so it looks like it is actually out of the box, it's mining. Let's take a look at the pool. If I go to Prospero there, it looks like it's trying to mine, but it doesn't actually. I mean, that's telling me that it hasn't actually got any pools at all. So what it's mining for, I don't know. Here's the mining, the hash rate in gigahashes per second. Now, I did see this come up on here, but I don't know what I did to actually get it to show. But you can see as the temperature, time is non-existent on the watts. So it looks like it's mining. And now I need to figure out how on earth to add a pool to it. So let's see, there's no contents page. Plugging in the leads, logging in, see what it's doing. If you've got multiple ones, you'll see them all, because apparently they'll all find each other and all link themselves together. Setting up the pool, first thing you want to do is add a pool. Select a Prospero, select the pool tab, select the pools tab, click add pool, and obviously you need a username and password and whatnot on this, so I need to set one up. So let's pause the video while I go and figure out how to do that. I've just done a little bit of Googling and a little bit of YouTube hunting, and I found this video, which I'll put a link right here, and it seems to be a pretty good place to start. Okay, I've jumped in straight onto part 3, one of 2, but he's recommended the best one he's had results with is the slush pool. And I know there's going to be people that are screaming out, "No, don't go to the slush pool! Don't go to the slush pool! It's awful!" Well, I'll find out for myself in due course, won't I? But that's the one I'm going to go to. So I've signed up with the slush pool account, and I've got the address there. So that address just needs to go in here with the username and password, and then I'll click OK, and the account will and it'll just appear and start mining. But you can see in the background I've already done this. I just forgot to press record. And there it is, it's alive, it's mining, it's doing something, I don't know. It says it's hashing happily. I wonder if it's set the time yet. No, it hasn't. So that's hashing and not telling me how much power it's drawing. But it's hashing. go to the dashboard. There we go. So that's showing the graph has leveled itself out. So it's showing it's doing just over 100 gigahashes per second. Drawing nothing, still sitting at 60 degrees, and it doesn't know what voltage it's running at either. It's not got any of those, they're all broken. Throttling down on the hash rate a bit there. So that is basically an X1 connected, up and running. And this video is looking a little dark at the moment because the brightness of this is darkening down everything out. So I'm going to put this out of the way because I don't want video by torchlight. Nobody wants video by torchlight. So let's have a better look at this X1. Now, let's say I don't know what that button does. Whether that shuts it down or something. No, it's a reset button by the looks of it. So I don't know how you actually power it down. But I suppose while it's starting up, there's no harm in using that point to turn it off. Right, and after having a little bit of a fiddle with this thing, I've discovered if you use the built-in Android browser, it tends to hang at the login screen on the X1. You can actually log in using this to visit. You basically web browse straight back in itself. It's got a web interface built in, which is different to the one you normally see on the laptop. Now I've set up a separate account on here because if I log in on here with the username user and the password Black Arrow, it'll try to log out my laptop. It'll complain that the laptop's logged in. So I've set up a separate account for this so I can log the two in together. That's easily done in the web interface on the, if you're using a laptop, you can just create a second account. That's easily done. And you can also, as you can see, plug in a keyboard, the USB connections. If you plug it in, the Android detects it and says, okay, what do you want to set up as? It arrived set for US English. I've changed it to UK English. And if I sign in, here we go. You can see there's the hashing speed, the internal temperature rounded to the nearest 20 degrees. Pool status is now showing as on. It wasn't showing just now, even though it was mining properly. So that is a little bit flaky. Running status, how long the system's been up and running for. As you can see, a little bit of a potch there. In fact, I'm filming this after the bit you're going to see next. So at this point, I've already opened it up and shown you all the ins and outs. I'll scroll down, you can see you've got the speed analysis chart showing what it's been doing over time, and the temperature analysis chart as it's ramped up and stayed there. And that's pretty much it for this. It's a slightly more colourful version of what you see on the laptop. But if you prefer this nice colourful interface here rather than this one, you can actually go to it using a web interface. Anyway, you just change it from HTTPS back to HTTP and put LCD at the end and log in. Again, I'm going to use the same ones I normally use on here. Oh, there we go. It changes to the different login page, and that's gone to sleep. So I'll log in as user. And there we go. It's same thing, just a bit wider. And of course I don't have touchscreen on my laptop. And at this point you can also, if you wish, configure the CG miner on this interface instead. You can change the username settings and whatnot. You can see you've got room for the various pools. There's pool 1 above this one, you've got pool 2, pool 3. You can mess around with the clocking here as well. That is actually also available on the main page. You can see over to the left we've actually got the speed adjustment there. There's a icon there, so you can actually change the name of the Prospero. If you've got lots of them, you can name them so you know which one's which. And you can also choose to start, stop, reboot, update or cancel as well. So you can shut the thing down all remotely from there. And let's take a closer look. while I'm waiting for the capacitors to discharge in there, because I'll be taking a damn closer look at that as well. I've just remember there's normally a lot brighter in here because I've normally got not just the big LED flood, but I've got my 150 watt halide lamp as well. So that's starting up, so it should get a little brighter in here soon and a bit less shadowy. Christ, that's done up tight. Let me get a bigger screwdriver tip. That one should do it. Gordon Bennett. Hang on. Now I know why we haven't seen Jeff Capes in years. He must be working in Black Arrow wielding a screwdriver. So that's better. It's a lot easier if you use the right size bit for the job and don't round the screw off. That one's going to be fun. I'll come back to that one. Right, you definitely need to use the right size screwdriver for the job here. That's those two off there, two there, and two on this side as well. And that whole clamshell should then, if you call it clamshell, with its fan connector come off like that. And it's a genuine Cooler Master, or at least it's a genuine Cooler Master look-alike. That's a big old fan, and there's not much else inside. Then there's not much to it. This slide the power supply in to see. This is the thing as it would be. You've got the power supply, which is apparently they did shrink down the size of that, but they asked for the power supply to be made a little smaller, basically to accommodate the fan on the top. So this doesn't need its own fan. It's got that massive fan sitting above it. But I think there would have actually been enough room there because they could have taken it up level with the top there. Anyway, power supply back out. Let's see what else is in there. And there's not actually an awful lot to see. I'll try and get this lit up as best I can. Hang on. We've got this big heatsink. It looks like two heat sinks. In fact, it's one big heat sink with all these copper heat pipes going to the central square here, and that is where the Minion ASIC is located. I can get a better view of it actually if I take off. Will that come out? Yeah. Hang on. Take off another couple of screws. This will get the power supply bracket out of the way. Without this in the way, you can see we've got a better view of the board itself. You've got this backplane board here, which is basically getting the power from here to the mining board. It's got these two what look like PCI Express connectors here. One each end. Presumably they're not being used in PCI Express configuration, they're just being used as a cheap and easy connector to get the two boards together. And it interfaces, the backplane board also has got the USB connections going through and interfacing basically this board up to the touchscreen board up here. And the touchscreen in fact is, you can see that's been soft mastic or silicone glued in place there around the edge, and that's a rock chip. You can just about make out the chip there. If I get one of the ribbons out of the way, I get the ribbons out the way and show it, or am I just casting shadows everywhere? Casting shadows, I think. Hang on. There we go. Couldn't speak then, and I actually had a torch in my mouth. So we've got these ribbons then which connect, these flat flex cables which connect from there down to the the main board. They both go down, they're not connected to the touchscreen. The top edge one there, that top edge one there connects to the touchscreen. These two both connect. So there's actually a lot of connection going on between this and the front. So it may be that these were shipped without, where they come without the LCD, that they'd actually still have this backboard here, and just not the LCD. I'm not sure. I'll take a closer look a sec. No, it is actually marked up as a control board V1.1, so it's not some off-the-shelf bit. I think this is actually, this is built to go with the minus. This appears to me at least to be a custom build, and there's a connector there which goes to the antenna connection. There were arguments over them saying, oh, it's a metal case, now we're going to have to do away with the antenna. To which there were comments on the forums, well, why didn't you just put in an external antenna? And it looks like they've actually seen sense and supplied one. So that's what's inside, and of course underneath this heatsink, this is the Minion ASIC. So there's not a lot to actually see in here. There's only one small capacitor to go bad in there, and another one down at this end. I don't know what brand those are. You can't actually make it out. There's a small chip down the end, which is an MP1484EN, or at least that's what it looks like. My eyes aren't getting quite as good as they used to be. And as I said, there's the rock chip on the back of this with a bit of flash RAM and a bit of RAM, and that's it in terms of this. There's a header there and room for another chip which isn't there, and well, that's your lot. So that's the X1 inside the X1. Now there's not much in there to go wrong really, and it's only going to be running on 12 volts and 5 volts. 12 volts 11.7 amps, 5 volts at 5 amps. But this is the device that needs to run day in, day out, providing that supply. So let's take a look inside the Sunshine Electronics power supply. Oh, let's have a quick look actually and see what we've got. We've got a wrongly spaced CE mark. We've got it's UL listed, and it says please don't throw me in the bin. So there we go. And of course it also says made in China. I've taken 2 of the screws out. It looks like we've got another 2 at the back here to get this. I think that'll be enough to get the top lid off. Nope, there's one more in the front. And that comes off. Okay, let's see what we've got. Lots of stuff crammed in, all shoehorned into this this board. They've managed to get it down lower by getting the top case right down, touching the top of this heatsink. We do have a plastic spacer at the bottom to separate the power supply from the metal case, and we've got quite a few capacitors here. I think that's an ink mark on that one rather than a bursting cap already. The main reservoir cap, 450 volts, 100 microfarads, quite beefy, made by KXG. Don't know what the temperature rating is of that cap. Being buried right in the middle. Last time I saw a cap buried right in the middle of a power supply was in a Netgear switch which had a dead cap in the middle of its power supply. I'd have preferred to see that somewhere round to the side where it's going to be a little bit cooler than sitting right in between two transformers and right in amongst all these bloody transistors. So how long it'll last, I don't know. I reckon that'll end up having to get replaced for drying up. The other capacitors, these are Rubicon. There's a Rubicon cap there. Rubicon Mark ZLH, 10 volt, 2200 microfarads. Yep, they're all Rubicon 105 degrees C. Assuming they're genuine Rubicon 105 degrees C, then happy days. But I don't know what that's rated, what that one's rated at, and also I don't know whether it's got a bleed cap. So I'm keeping my fingers away from. I'm not prodding that any more than I have to. There's not a lot else to see. We've got this thin rubber insulation sheet between the MOSFETs, or, the switching transistors, and the case. But these are all plastic tabbed anyway, so they're actually isolated from the thing. These ones aren't. But these aren't isolated tab, but they are separated. But this is going to be on the, what I assume would be the low voltage side anyway. Do we have spark gaps and whatnot? I don't really know. And now to go in any further into this, I'd have to start undoing these screws and loosening off the heat sinks and whatnot. So risking what might be turning a working power supply into a dead one. I'm not seeing any spark gaps underneath the opto isolators there. The circuit board, we've got some separation there, but what we haven't got is any sort of slots cut in the board to try and separate them out. Well, there's not a lot else to see in here at the moment, I'm afraid. I'm not going to go, as I said, I'm not going to go any further into it. I don't particularly want to pop it. It's got these there are other signals on there as well. It's got these two main connections there. It may be, after you have to look at the specs really, but it may be that we've got 12 volts ground and then all the 5 volt ones on the other pins then. But I don't know. What did I say it was? 12 volts. I think 12 volts is the 12 volts is the big rail. So and I don't know what the temperature rating is of that cap. The temperature rating is down under the glue. Perhaps some of the electrical engineers who look at my my page might want to pass some judgment on that, because I don't know as much as you might think I know. I learn a lot of this stuff on the way, as I go along. What I know about switch mode power supplies is that they bite. Wouldn't be able to design one, not one which would output the voltage you'd expect anyway. But it looks, as I said, it looks not too bad to me. If those are the recommended specs, there's a lot of stuff in here. We've got, in fact, we've actually got input filtering here, of course. So there's a lot of interference suppression going on, and lightning protection. There's an awful lot of stuff in there. You can see there's MOVs in there. Quite often you get a cheap and nasty, like a USB charger or something like that, and they'd leave all of this stuff out and do a barely functioning switch mode power supply. This actually looks like it, to me, a reasonable spec. Its input is 100 to 240 volts on the board, and it says on there 100 to 240 volts as well. So the one thing I don't like is the fact it's got the capacitor right in the middle, but the other power supply I saw which had failed like that was a big brand power supply anyway. So we shall see. I can't see, looking at that, why some people have had them go boom, because unless these were unless these shorted out to the case and basically overloaded the supply and it went boom that way. I don't know. These ought to. These being plastic insulated tabbed, I think, to be honest, it's probably overkill to have the insulating washer between them as well. I know, it's probably helping with heat dissipation, but it's it might be overkill having those in there. So you could look at it as a belt and braces approach. So that's the power supply. I'll put this together. I'll put it back in there, and I shall plug it in and switch it on, and hopefully make a few bitcoins. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If not, then, well, have a look elsewhere. Don't forget there's that link back I put earlier on. I'll put it up here again with some really useful Bitcoin mining stuff. And thank you for watching. See you soon. And Columbo style here. One last thing, when you put these things together, make sure those ribbons are flattened out of the way of the fan, because they will foul the fan and stop it working. And if the fan stops, it's not going to be a very happy bunny, and that power supply probably will go boom. So make sure the ribbons are folded back out of the way. The board will actually trap them out of the way if you fold them right, I think. Should trap them back out of the way if you fold them right, which is quite a bit of faff, as you can see. But now that should go on and spin freely. Thank you for watching.